Welcome to the 1878 FM podcast. It's a full house. The Bushmaster General is back. Last week,
Boom.
He was in Liverpool. Couldn't be bothered coming into the studio or doing the show from here. But that's fine. He had his reasons. But he is back. He's back with us today. Andy, how are you?
I'm good. It's good to be back on. Sorry I didn't make it to your social. I saw the photos; they looked very, very good. But it was a nightmare getting to Liverpool. The M6. I think the M6 might be the worst motorway in the world.
Yeah.
What's the worst motorway in the world? I think it might be the M6.
The 25's not very good.
I haven't tried enough of them to specify the world. You know what I mean? There might be some in some war-torn country that's really, really bad. But the M6 is a bad one.
It's the worst in. It's the worst.
But I like the way Andy there is like swerve the conversation just to be like, oh, it's terrible getting up here. Oh, but once I got up here, the place where you were having your night was only 2 minutes away. You know.
I apologise, but yeah, it was. We got in there late on Friday, but it was fantastic, and obviously the game went to the Palace game, which was just what a game to pick. It turns out my dad, after worrying about him being an albatross, he was a lucky charm.
Yeah,
there you go.
Absolutely, he was.
How was broadcasting from the tower, Andy? Because I've been up there on a very windy day, and oh my God, do you feel that thing sway? And I mean properly feel it sway. It is scary. You know when someone stops talking for a minute, and then that's when you notice it sway. So did you get any of those kind of feelings?
No, do you know what? It didn't move at all. It was pretty stationary, so that was fun. You did get a couple of moments where you thought, oh my, it kind of dawned on you how high up you were, and you felt a bit like, but a great view of the city. And I love what's that shopping centre downstairs in it? It's got an indoor market. I love an indoor market.
St John's. That used to be the pride of Liverpool. That place, but you know what? They tried to do it up, and they've made the right mess of it. They tried to modernise it. It didn't need modernising. It just needed, a butcher, a candlestick maker, somebody else, and they've pretty much destroyed it. To be honest.
I love cafes in indoor markets, like indoor market, and they've got a bit of that going on at the St John's Market. All in, I was well impressed with it, man. Liverpool's looking good. Liverpool's looking great. I was hugely impressed. It's been a little while since I've been up there, but it was looking brilliant.
Did you take a little wander down to the stadium?
We didn't go to the stadium, could see it from our vantage point up in the tower, but we did all the kind of usual tourist stuff that when we see family, we didn't really have time to go and see. We went into the Beatles story with our little headsets on, that was good and stuff as well. So, and the Tate, it's just looking great. I think it's Liverpool's looking vibrant.
Ped hates tourists, by the way.
Yeah, I hate tourists.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the Liverpool cultural attaché.
Do you know what though? And I know where this, obviously we've just been talking off air then, because Andy was trying to claim that I would know the guy who invented Uber, but because I once drove a car, that's like him saying he knows the fella who makes Weetabix because he eats them.
Outrageous. Neil McGonigal set up Uber in Liverpool. He's one of my good friends. Nickname Iggy, season ticket holder in the Gladys Street end. Was on the front page of the Echo, kissing the turf when we stayed up against Wimbledon. That's Iggy.
There you go. Now I know him. Now I know him.
Hang on. And there was about 300 people doing that.
They focused in on Iggy because it was an iconic photo.
To be fair, the irony is this story is, now that I'm a civilian, I don't like tourists. But when I was a cab driver and on Uber, I made took great pride in telling people about the city, and I used to love, there'd be like Brummies who'd come up, and I used to love them that basically Liverpool was the home of Peaky Blinders and not Birmingham, and they were always devastated by that, because basically Peaky Blinders is filmed all around Liverpool. It was only later on when I think Tommy Shelby got his big house that he went back to Birmingham, but I used to take great pride in that. And other locations where because I basically know where all the films are filmed in Liverpool, so I'd be that's where so and so did that. So it's just now I don't like them because I've got to drive for myself now. But I didn't mind getting stuck in traffic jams when I was a taxi driver. They just leave the clock on.
Have people in Liverpool got a nickname for tourists? Because I grew up in Devon, and we used to call them grockles. Do you have a name for them?
Grockles.
Grockles. What the hell?
Yeah. That's like a different language. What does grockles mean?
When you go on holiday to Devon or Cornwall, people serving you, being polite to you, they're calling you behind your back grockles, and I don't know where it comes from.
Grockles?
No, I know. I know when the because Liverpool has 3 universities, so it's got lots of students, and we used to be called townies and I think that's a bit of a universal thing. and they'd look down on us just because we happened to have been born in a city that they weren't from. But we don't have any nicknames for tourists, do we?
Tourists.
Just cash cows.
Or something else.
Yeah. Liverpool fans.
Other names that I wouldn't
Liverpool
say.
fans.
Liverpool fans is probably...
Dave, did you feel like a tourist when you came from Hong Kong?
No, not really. I really thought about it before, to be honest with you. But, if I ever went to Liverpool, it was always felt to be going back to my roots and where family was from and stuff like that. So I don't think I ever really identified as a tourist, to use the modern parlance.
Not a grockle, whatever.
I've never heard of a grockle before.
Never heard of that?
No, I mean that's the nice thing about doing this chat every week is I always find that it's quite educational. Not only do we clearly enjoy each other's company, but we learn stuff every week as well.
Grockle sounds like a type of pasty you'd be getting on your paddleboard.
Yeah.
That's
grockle,
what a grockle.
Like a large grockle.
Like I can have I don't know. I'll have a steak slice, cheese and onion slice, and two large grockles.
Grockle.
2 hot grockles, please.
Yeah, putting them in his bag and paddling
hot
back.
Crocs.
While wearing your Crocs. Incredible.
Absolutely.
Incredible. We'll come back to the random chat, because I love the random chat. The random chats are the best bit.
Can I?
Go on.
I feel that the thing that we need to address first this
Okay.
week is not Andy's spurious disappearance last week, although there'll probably be more of that later. I would just like to say how nice Ped's hair's looking.
Oh, thank you.
He's gone a bit Peaky Blinders, hasn't he?
Yeah, but often I think that, when people have a haircut, and I think that they get maybe not annoyed, but disappointed certainly when it's not noticed and it's not given the credit it deserves. And I would just like to be the first person here to say that your hair looks lovely, Peter.
Thank you, Dave.
And it adds to the visual stimulation of this outfit.
I'm glad you said that, because I have to go to Skelmersdale to get my hair cut, and that
You don't have to.
I do have to.
You don't have to.
I do, because
It's the couture capital.
Ped, what do you ask for? When you go
I don't ask.
Sit down in the chair,
That's the point. I don't ask because I have my own barber, and that's why I go to Skem, because there's a barber in Liverpool called Cutthroat Pete, who's a big Evertonian. And he had a shop in town, and I was looking, because do you ever have that fear when you go in a barber? You walk in and you know what you want, or you've got a picture of what you want, and then you bottle it when you sit down and you just go, shut back on sides, please. Well, I was getting a bit of that, and I knew being on Toffee TV, you gotta look the business. You gotta keep. Sure. I've got to keep up with Baz, for God's sake. Housewives' favourite. And I found a barber who's an Evertonian. And he couldn't basically afford to work in Liverpool anymore, so he went back to Skelmersdale, as if anyone knows, just outside Liverpool, where you cannot.
Leon Osmond's from Skem.
You cannot get any transport there; it's impossible. So I followed him, and even though it's
literally followed him,
it's a little bit expensive if for the average barber, but it's worth it because you sit down, he knows what you want, he cuts you there, it's all you get a time and you get a place, and you walk in, walk out, and it's happy days. And you don't get any of that fear of going, just shave it all off, mate.
The worst is in barbers, and you go in and you've got someone who cuts your hair, but if there's a couple of them, and you don't want the other
exactly.
person. Now
you see, I don't play that game anymore. Right? I've got a lady called Gillian who cuts my hair. She's from Glasgow, and she
please say she comes to the house, Dave. I'd love that.
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. But yeah, her name is Gillian, and she's got her own little barbers in the village, and I go there now. About 2 years ago, there was a new Turkish barbers opened up next door, but one to Gillian.
Oh,
right?
no.
And it was
Glasgow.
And I thought, you know what? That is not sporting.
No.
You really shouldn't play that game. No. She was not happy.
No.
Right? And so since then, I've never ever tried anywhere else because I always feel like I'm being unfaithful. I think is a thing.
Yeah,
cheating on her.
I book an appointment with Gillian. I don't have anybody else because we enjoy the chat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I went in there the other day. And she was really, really annoyed because there was this old boy who was in there just before me in the chair, and she'd had like half an hour, 40 minutes of him, and he was doing a head in because what he'd done is he'd brought in on his phone pictures of Paul Hollywood, right? Now, this gentleman was older than Paul Hollywood. This gentleman, I don't know how old Paul Hollywood is, but I'm going to suggest that he must be in his mid to late 50s. And so this gentleman must have been in his early 70s at best. And he was showing pictures of Paul Hollywood, and she's going, yeah, but your hair will never look like that because Paul Hollywood's hair is white and dead straight and sticks up at the front. And this guy's was brown and weavy, you know? And so there was no way it was ever going to work. Yet he still insisted on kind of going, well, yeah, but could it not be more like that?
I love that she was kind of direct and honest with him that she couldn't make it work. Because you do get those books of
Glaswegians tend to be honest and direct, though, anyway. I mean, if you'll know, as a sort of cultural kind of stereotype, they tend to not beat around the bush, I find.
Do you know what happened to me recently, though? I don't know if this happened to you guys. I went into the hairdressers, had my hair cut by the same lady who always does my hair. And at the end, she said, do you want me to I'll do your eyebrows for you.
Oh, yeah.
And then
I find that
feel like a slippery slope, though, isn't it?
No, I always have that done, and I always have the hair around my ears trimmed as well. But that's just a courtesy from Darren. That's the service Darren gets. Gives you in Skemersdale.
Fair play.
You know, I wouldn't go as far as
guy.
I wouldn't get those the things you stick up your nose and pull out. I wouldn't get any of that.
No.
You know, that's
talking about Dave was talking about the Turkish barbers. I remember going to a Turkish barber in North London a few years ago, and he had both my ears on fire.
Yeah, I've gone to say
they
set you on fire, don't they?
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it on the YouTube.
Is that to get rid of the hair?
Yep.
Well, either that or to make you look stupid. The
I mean,
modern day Wicker Man, you know.
Yeah. I've actually considered at times, and this is a conversation for gentlemen of a certain age.
Oh, okay.
Is that as you get older, you get more hair appearing in various different holes in your body, so to speak.
Right, in such a lovely way, Dave.
I'm thinking primarily about the holes in your ears, or indeed the holes in your nostrils. I'm not thinking about any other holes, just those holes. More kind of head holes.
Head holes,
right?
yeah.
Head holes, right? High head holes. And I have actually considered buying one of those from Amazon so that I don't have to go into a shop and buy it. And it would just get delivered in a brown sort of paper packaging. It's one of those electric nose trimmer things because I have found, and I don't know whether you suffer from this as well, but the older that I get, you know, and I'm nearly in my late 30s now, is that I find that I get more hair in there than I ever have before, and I spend almost on a daily basis trying to pluck them out, which if you've ever tried to do it, is for a man is the nearest pain to childbirth, I think. You know, because it's really smart.
Hang on. What I would say,
I've
got one of them. I've got one because I have a shaver, obviously, from my beard, and you get the attachment for it. But we've done, and we've got actually some in the studio here. We've done, and I've done sponsorship for the company that does a lot of sponsorships for the old downstairs trimming, and you get all those attachments. They're very popular these days. You don't have to be. No, you don't have to be shy about it.
When you say downstairs trimming, you're not talking about Darren's got a split level barbershop, are you? You're talking more physically.
Physically.
Just gonna take you downstairs, Pete, to get the last
to wash your hair.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't want to go downstairs.
No thanks, Daz. No thanks, Daz. Have you taken the Daz doorstep challenge, Peter?
Daz's basement.
Daz's basement, yeah.
What goes on down there? We don't talk about
legs behind your head, and off you go.
I think ITV are missing a trick.
This is it. This is definitely Loose Women. Oh my God, I switched on Loose Women the other day by accident. I was just
gonna say, surely it was by accident.
And they were having this really in-depth conversation. I think it was about Prince Harry, right? Because he's got a book coming out. But they were all dressed in fancy dress for Halloween. And
I saw that. It was weird with Kay Adams looking like the Mad Hatter.
Yeah, and they were trying to talk about dead serious subjects while looking like absolute tits. Oh, it just. I mean, it just got the whole.
The views of Peter McPartland are not necessarily the views of the 1870s.
I don't know why you have to say that. I mean, they look like tits. I mean, that's again. That's just obvious. Dave will back me up on this. Oh no, he can't.
No, I agree with you. I think that it's very difficult to. I find the whole Halloween thing a bit strange. Anyway, I'll be honest with you. I don't really buy into it. And I've seen nothing on my Instagram or Facebook in the last couple of days other than people going to extreme lengths with Halloween. Now, I know, Bush, you have a daughter or certainly children of more of a Halloween appreciative age, right?
Yeah, we've got a 9-month-old, a 4-year-old, and a 12-year-old. So the 12-year-old went out trick-or-treating, and the other two not quite aware of it yet, so we're trying to keep it moving. I agree with you. It's become like, back in the day when I was a kid, it was a bin bag with holes in it for like a body piece, and then one of them plastic scary masks, and that was it. But now, like you say, it's become very Americanized, and people aren't even dressed in the scary stuff anymore now. Do you know what I mean?
Thankfully,
like full-on kind of prosthetics and all sorts of stuff going on. I mean, you see, my daughter, it's sometimes. I mean, she doesn't listen to this. It's sometimes difficult to tell whether it's Halloween or it's not Halloween with her because she tends to dress primarily in black. And she has her kind of, septum pierced and stuff, as you do.
Is she a goth? Have you got a goth daughter?
Kind of. Yeah, she's a sort of pseudo-goth. So actually, she looks quite Halloween at the best of times. But I'm sort of well beyond. Funny enough, I was listening to Dave Berry this morning, and he was talking about taking his 4-year-old daughter out trick-or-treating last night. And obviously, that's the perfect age, I think, when they're like that, because they're excited by stuff and they enjoy the dress-up thing. And I sort of get that, but I think I've just missed the boat because I don't ever really remember doing that with my daughter.
I was looking at Baz's Instagram yesterday, and there was some remarkable people dressing up on your
Some
Instagram.
Tremendous outfit. Megan Fox went above and beyond. Absolutely, you should check it out if you've not.
Oh, did you see Lucrezia Millarini or whatever her name is from ITV? Oh,
I'll have a look.
Just give us the details.
Just give us a check.
Have a look at her Halloween picture.
Send the group. Send the group Megan Fox.
I'll tell you what I would say is one of the. I mean, going back full circle. One of the first proper nights I worked as a taxi driver when I was on Uber was Halloween, and my God, some of the sites were unbelievable.
I've just seen on the way in a couple of people either doing the walk of shame or they've decided November the 1st is still Halloween.
And actually,
incredible costumes.
Again, just another thing on this. I remember a few years back, what was it now, 5 years, going to Lyon on the train from Liverpool. So we started at Lime Street. We were going to Lyon to see the Europa League game, and it was the 1st of November. So when they're all coming in, getting on the trains to go home, and this is like 5 o'clock in the morning. Just unbelievable, unbelievable.
It is mad.
But it's about footy,
No, but Zach went out on his own last night with his mate just round ours, and he come back with an impressive haul of sweets. He was all for it. I was fuming because they should have been training.
I don't answer the door.
Most of his team had decided it was a Halloween party and didn't train, so I wasn't happy with that. I knocked that out of them.
I just don't answer the door. It's as simple as that.
Oh, we had loads last night. We had loads.
But you live in an affluent area.
No,
it's okay.
Listen. It is what it is.
Gated community.
Yeah, it is very. It feels gated. Do you know what I mean? Mock Tudor, very much mock Tudor.
It's a suburb. That's all it
is.
Yeah,
Baz's area is the kind of area that you buy your 17-year-old daughter a new car for a birthday. That's the vibe we're going for. You know what I mean? Or maybe a pony.
Yeah, buy myself a new car. Like 12 and a half years old and creaking.
What did you get your daughter for a 17th birthday?
Nothing.
18?
Party. No,
18?
No.
19?
21.
Okay, 21. All right, you left it a few years.
It wasn't brand new.
Fair play to you.
It wasn't brand new. Anyway, Everton played at the weekend. I was there at Craven Cottage.
It's nice ground, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I was saying. I think I've been there more than any other. That was the 11th time I've been to Fulham. So I think
like their al fresco sort of continental beer vibe that you get there. It's a nice place on a sunny day to stand outside and have a couple of pre-match.
What's weird, they're saying to Ped though, the away end is very weird, isn't it? Because there's no segregation. You go in through the turnstile, and it's basically just an open bit of land, isn't it? And a temporary stand, essentially, which is what that is.
Yeah, temporary.
It's like a temporary stand, the away end. It's like literally what they're building, like.
But they're not really football fans, are they, Fulham?
No.
And I don't mean that
in the nicest possible way. Yeah.
I don't mean it to sound disrespectful. And they're an old established club, but they're probably the nicest football club, or one of the nicest football clubs in the country. In so much as you don't really get any nastiness.
There wasn't even any like. When we scored and it got disallowed, there wasn't even any all of that nonsense. It was just
like going to a rugby. I've never been to a rugby match, but I would imagine it's a bit like going to Fulham.
Yeah, I've been there lots of times, and Everton's record it's appalling. Really, it's that Craven Cottage, and the amount of times they've scored past us, and it's just clapping the hand. Whereas when we scored on Saturday, there was literally a fall next to us where fans just went toppling down the stairs and took about 30 people out for a disallowed goal, and that is how Everton celebrate goals. But I mean, I come out of the ground thinking it was a decent point. I thought Everton played quite well in the first half. Could have had 2 or 3 goals. We had 5.
Sitter. It was a sitter. Calvert-Lewin.
Calvert-Lewin's is a sitter, but we've had good opportunities. In the second half, they were better, and we just couldn't get going. So, I mean, how did you?
I was happy with the point. I thought we started brightly, and I thought it was encouraging. But then, I thought on the balance of play, I thought they were the better side. I thought Willian was man of the match for me by a country mile. He just seemed to make everything happen, and they had far more chances. And on another day, Mitrovic could have got a couple, definitely.
Could have been off as well on another day.
Yeah, no, you're right. And looking back on it, and I agree. I think it was borderline at best. I think he should have gone for that.
Yeah.
No, I was happy with the point. I thought it was quite a hard fought point. And yeah, I have no complaints.
Mr. Bush.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. We've mentioned the old rope-a-dope thing on this podcast before, but I think Everton are getting good at something that we kind of developed under Moyes, where they can kind of turtle a little bit, go into their shell and soak up some punches. Because even when we were under pressure, we were
turtle.
Turtle, get your head down.
Does this go in the bracket of grockles?
Grockle.
We can hang on. You're using turtle as a verb, right? Yeah. To turtle. One will turtle by going into the shell.
I wonder if this will appear on, some World Cup coverage over the next month. We'll hear teams like, Iran turtled in that first half and came at them second half.
Get your head down, pull your arms and legs in, and just go into your shell and soak it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Turtle football.
Fair play. Forget Lampard ball. Turtle ball.
Didn't Gary Lineker once turtle on a pitch?
I think so.
Yeah, he did.
So
And
did
then
Liz McColgan, didn't
he?
But anyway, Andy, back to turtling.
Back to turtling.
Yeah.
So, like I say, you remember during the darkest times of the Benitez era last season, it was just terrifying. Like, we were completely out of control. Tail end of and beginning of the Lampard thing as well. Like, whenever anyone was attacking us, it looked like they were inevitably going to score all over the place. Whereas we're soaking up, I say, a similar amount of pressure in terms of maybe not having the ball for a similar amount of time. But I feel we look less likely to concede than we have done. So it's like, you might look at the stats and say, like I say, second, no shots or whatever, 1 shot in the second half. But it's just a different story to how it was last season. So I feel like, a great point. I think we're one of the few teams that hasn't conceded when we've gone and played there.
The only team.
Only team. Well, there you go. And I just feel like each game, we're just making a little bit of progress. It's filling me with hope. It really is.
Ped, one of the big things was at the weekend, they had a lot of corners, but when even like being there and with their crowd getting up a little bit, it felt so much more. I feel like we're so much more confident off defending corners now than what we were.
Sponging it.
Sponging it.
Yeah,
Sponging
it. Yeah, we're sponging the corners. Yeah.
But what I mean, overall, we are just better defensively, aren't we?
We've got better defenders as well.
Yeah.
We've got the 2 centre backs who can deal with it.
Mikalenko was great as well.
He had a very good game defensively.
He's getting better and better every week.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, but
he is.
The stats don't necessarily back that up, but he's a good defender. And I think just with the 2 in the middle, we look a lot better. And of course, we've got Garner in front of him, and we've got Onana as well, who's good for. And we've cut, without jinxing anything, but corners we look a lot better. Whereas last season, like you're saying there, this time last season, every corner you look terrified. Yeah. We look terrified, and there's only really the goal against Brentford this season, which is sort of slipped through the net. So yeah, we look a lot better, and if we could get some kind of form going up front, then we'd be a lot better. And as Andy mentioned in the game against Palace, that's what we did. We looked good going forward as well, and we'll need that on Saturday, obviously, when we play Leicester. So things are looking better. It's a good point. I know a lot of people might be disappointed when you look at it going to Fulham and only getting a point, but Fulham are not a bad side. There's no real bad sides in the Premier League. There's no one that you look at and go, oh, we'll batter them. And you've had lots of them in the past, and they still beat us. So to go there, get a point after sort of the second half, then yeah, I'm quite happy with that.
One other thing as well is, like, what do you guys think about when we'll get? I feel like he's sorted the defence out and sturdied us up and the trunk of the team, etc. But What do you think his next step is? Do you think we'll get anyone in like January for? I think even what happens to the transfer window and everything with all this weirdness that's going on. Do you think he will try and look to strengthen up front? Because that's where we are lacking.
We have to. I mean, we simply have to. We said this before. Is that I think, I think it was a mistake and a failing in the summer that we didn't strengthen up front. I think we have to do it because we are. I just don't think we're giving ourselves the opportunity to play to our strengths and make the most of all that's good, from the back four in terms of the way that the side has been strengthened. If we haven't got anybody that's got any real cutting edge.
Yeah.
And there's got to be somebody who, if nothing else, has got to provide competition for Dominic.
Do you mean like cancelling loans, bringing loanees back, or do you think buying new?
No, I think for me, it's like you just said, Andy. It's quite obvious now that obviously the goalkeeper's fine. The defence is much better, as Ped's just said. The midfield's really been strengthened to the point where you could probably start 5, even all 6 in midfielders.
James Garner, Tom Davis, Decore sitting on the bench.
Exactly, and all of them could play in a midfield 3 at times, and I know that. Before anyone starts screaming at the camera, it's they could. I'm not saying they should.
Why would someone be screaming at the camera? Why would someone have a camera to scream at?
The TV or the phone or the laptop or the iPad. Right. Yeah, sorry. But I think when you're looking, the final third is where we are lacking. The team doesn't have goals in it, and we can look. Dom is coming back and it's great and he's looking better each game, but we still need to add a bit of pace and goals.
It's funny that I think Dave said about Willian. Is that the cat? Should we be looking, or should we have looked at a player like that? I'm not saying we should have, but I think someone like Willian, from what I saw of him on Saturday, would be brilliant for someone like Michalenko in front of him. Someone who's not an out-and-out wing.
Score though, does he?
No, but he looks like a guy who can make goals. The problem with our 2 wide men, I've said this a million times, is they just pick the ball and run away. They don't support.
It's off the cuff,
they don't create things. They don't They just pick the ball. And as we spoke about this already, for someone like Michalenko, who I think defensively is fine, but has got a lot of work to do going forward. I think you need to have someone in front of you can give him the ball, and you're going to get it back if you make a run on the outside of him. And I don't think you can do that with these two. And I think they're both
like the Baines-Pienaar kind of combo.
Absolutely. And these two our wide men are just so selfish players that you never know when you're going to get it back from them. So, for me, the first place I'd look at is not necessarily a centre-forward, but a wide forward. Someone who can play in one of those 2 positions, who will add goals. But
you mean like a Richarlison?
Yeah, like a Richarlison-type
someone
player.
Like
maybe replacing Richarlison might be... But someone like we've been linked with Mudryk, obviously, and obviously Kudas at Ajax.
Gakpo.
Someone who can pick up the ball and looks like he's always in control of it, and you can trust him to put a ball in the box or get shots off and score goals. That's what we're massively missing, because these Gordon and Gray, you just can't trust either of them.
Well, Anthony Gordon's a young player, so he's going to be inconsistent, isn't he? And I've said it lots of times. I wish he'd just simplify his game a little bit, because I think he'd be way better. And Damari Gray he's hot and cold. I just think the natural goal scorers have got to be put into the squad. I think once you put people in who are getting goals and know how to score goals, and I know it's easier said than done, but that boosts everyone then, and then you've got people battling in every single position then. But that's probably what we need, because we've got it defensively, we've got it in the centre of the park now. Why shouldn't we have
on Townsend?
It's going to be.
I've literally forgotten about it.
It'll be like Boxing Day, won't it? Boxing Day for him. He's going to be a pundit at the World Cup, so it's proven he's not really training with the first team as yet. So he's going to be kind of the new year, but he's only got 6 months left anyway, hasn't he? So I think Frank Lampard. Listen, Lampard's not stupid. He said it a couple of times already about they know what the next step is, and that's what they're trying to do. So
do you feel like we need like a little trickster type character as well, someone who can put those forward balls in a little bit in the middle? I think that's the only maybe slight missing part of our. We've got a great midfield and everything, but we haven't got someone that kind of unlocks, Arteta-esque kind of unlock those passes. You know what
creative midfielder, maybe.
I think we've got great options in midfield, but I'm still not convinced that we're necessarily completely settled on the best formation. And I wonder, just before, when you were talking about Doucouré, I just wonder whether you could play Doucouré and Onana together, in the middle. I don't know. I mean, maybe they're too similar, but you think having seen Doucouré when he's played really, really well, he looked like a great buy, and he looked unplayable at times, and it just seems to me that it would be nice to see him back to his best.
Don't forget as well, Dave. Sorry, just to put in, you can go back again, but he came to Everton with 18 goals from Watford. He was averaging half a dozen goals from midfield, and he was the one who broke into the box. And I think that's what you're kind of talking about, aren't you? That player that can break into the box.
I just like to see, him back to his best again. And I don't know whether that's a fitness issue. I don't know whether that's a team selection and structural issue. I don't know. But I think we've got some really good players. I'm just not entirely sure that we've necessarily got the balance.
What about this? Because I've talked about this over there, and again, I have been, remiss to sort of move Alex Iwobi, but just right now, because Anthony Gordon and Damari Gray are a little bit up and down, shall we say, is there a case then for maybe on Saturday, but if not, maybe Bournemouth, or certainly side in the cup, pushing Alex Iwobi wide again and putting Abdoulaye Doucouré into that position in the 8 role with Onana, and say to him, right, you break into the box and just have a look at it, because he's someone, if you think of like his goal against Norwich last year at Goodison, where he just drove forward from midfield. Southampton, we've seen him do it in the cup against, he's got goals for us by driving forward. It was something that he was very good at Watford for, and we've kind of got him, and then
I think it'd be worth a look. I think it'd be worth a look, even if it was just in a substitution for 20 minutes or something like that. I think it'd be worth looking at.
Because it mixes it up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think, Andy, we do, like we've just said, we do look so much better, but we are still, we still have only scored 11 goals in 13 games, I think it is. It's 13 we've played, isn't it? 11 and 13, which... It's not great. 3 of them were last week against Palace, so we have to find goals somewhere, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing to sort out, which we're all aware of, was just to try and sort the defence out, and the fact that we used to absolutely bottle it when teams put any pressure on us, or we bullied out of games. And he, fair play to Frank, he's absolutely done that. We've got a brilliant foundation now to move on and get the next step, which is sort out the attacking line. And I love the way he wants us to play. I can see how Lampard wants us to play, and it's just a question of, we're a different Everton now. We're not going to blow a load of money on players. We haven't got the money to do that anymore now. So it's a huge decision in terms of those pieces and where they fit and the right striker. And like I said, we've got Calvert-Lewin coming back, he hasn't kicked a ball for ages. So that miss at the weekend was just pure rustiness. It could be like a new signing. If we can get him back and firing, then great. But it'll be interesting to see. We're in this period of games which we earmarked a few episodes ago, where we've got to pick up the points in these matches, so that if we do go back to rope-a-dope and just try and stay close to the big guys, then maybe we'll lose but not get battered. These are the games that we need to win, so we can't be missing chances like that.
I think ultimately though we do need new players. I think we've got two Premier League games now, and then the League Cup game sandwiched in between, to give maybe the opportunities to see other players. But then we've got 6 weeks, we've got 2 friendlies in Australia, to have a real good look at where the squad is, when players are coming back, and see, because we're getting the likes of Godfrey back for, say, Boxing Day, and Mason Holgate's available. Then
Garner as well. We shouldn't I've completely overlooked Garner, who's looked quite handy when he's come on.
Yeah, James Garner, but it's an opportunity now to look and go, do you know what? Actually, we don't need Michael Keane, so let's sell him in January. We've got players to cover. Do we really need Yerry Mina? Will there be someone that can come in January and take him offers, free up the wages, and then look around? Because ultimately, we say this a lot. We don't think the answers are necessarily in the squad. It's great to say, could he do this job? But I think we all know deep down that they actually can't. And we all know that we could put the Corey in there and he might look all right. But ultimately, what we need is new players. We need get for me, and this is my own personal view. Anthony Gordon and Damari Gray should not be playing every week, because on one hand, I don't think Gray's good enough, and on the other hand, I think Gordon's a young player who does need to come in and out the team. But he will have moments of highs and he will have lows, and I think we need someone who's got a bit more consistency, who you can rely on every single week, and you know what you're getting. And I think the only way you do that is by players. Look how much the team's been transformed by bringing in a right back, by bringing in 2 centre backs, obviously we've had to bring in a left back. You know, the team is being transformed at its core by bringing in new players that the manager wants. And wouldn't it be lovely to have like almost a full 11, not complete full 11, but nearly a full 11 of Frank Lampard players. So we get rid of all the demons of the past and stop saying, oh, well, he's that manager's player and that manager's player. That would be, I think, for us, you can go, this is Frank Lampard's team, and we can really move forward with this.
Surely as well, I always think we've got this in the locker with Lampard, that he's got such a good personal kind of relationship with a load of players, and he's so well respected that we must have that kind of pick up the phone, I'm going to sign for Frank, even though bigger teams want me type moment where he can call in a favour and get someone in as well. Surely that's just not that far around the corner.
I mean, like Conor Gallagher.
Yeah, someone like that.
But
do you know what I mean?
Well, Breuer at Chelsea. I mean, we've already had players saying I come for Frank. Spoke to the manager, I couldn't wait to work with him. So I think we are getting that, and I think you're right, Ped. I just think I wouldn't necessarily throw Gordon and Gray out. I think them two for me should be battling for one role.
Exactly.
And then the other side should be the more consistent goal scoring type, because I don't think it's a bad thing to have someone who's unpredictable in your team. But I think
Gray's a frustration though, and I don't necessarily agree, Ped, in so much as I don't think it's necessarily a case of him not being good enough. I think that there's so much of his game that is good enough, but it's just the end product. And maybe
that means that's why. Yeah.
Maybe, and I get that, but I just sort of wonder whether he could be coached and molded and have his game changed to actually make him really effective, because it's just he does so much good.
Yeah.
So much of his game is exciting and good. But it's just
the last bit.
There's decision making.
Well, maybe that's what you mean.
Gordon's the same though, isn't he? Anthony Gordon's kind of similar. So you got the pair of them on each wing. Making the wrong decisions.
I'd say Gordon is more. I'd say Gordon's got more of a cutting edge than Gray.
Isn't this though a little bit of what we as Evertonians have been doing for years? Though we're too nice. Like, I would bin them, honestly. No, but that's the problem. I think people like them and people like Michael Keane's a case in point. For years and years, we're like, oh, you'll be all right. He's not. These players are not good enough.
Well, we've just moved on. You move on, don't you?
What I'm saying is, but I think as a football club, we're really bad at this.
I think
we get far too sentimental about certain players, and you should just no. But honestly, I think we do as a football club. I think we get far too sentimental.
Given that though, we'd have got rid of Iwobi. Do you know what I mean?
Well, true. That's true. But you know what? And I do agree with you. But there has to be some point where you have to go, do you know what? I'm not saying get rid of them. What I'm saying is I think at some point you have to identify what's working and what's not working, and say it's time to bring in a player in that position. So that there's, because the core is a really good case in point. A lot of people would probably have said this season the core will be fine in our midfield. He's played all the games, and now you wouldn't go, oh yeah, we've got the Corey sitting. You will go, we've got the Corey sitting on the bench. Not bothered if he's in the team or not. And I think we have to get that to that stage with players where you're thinking, yeah, he's all right, get him off the bench.
I think it's consistency for me, and I think if you can get someone on the other side right now who is more consistent, that's a goal threat, then the other two do battle it out. And then
I've completely lost the whole thread because Ped's just sent us those Halloween photos.
There you go. Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
I mean, who's that?
There you go.
Oh, that's the Megan Fox bit. Oh, right. I see. Sorry. I mean,
she's taking it. She's taking it.
I didn't really give a toss about Damari Gray or anything like that.
No, she's taking it very seriously. That's all I'd say.
She is taking it very seriously.
Very seriously.
As I say, I recommend you have a look at Lucrezia Millerini.
We'll have a little look
from a journalistic perspective.
Yeah, just so we know, just so we're up to date.
Well, just so we can clarify what they're talking
about. Exactly. It's the I'm a Celeb, because it's my favourite. It's been announced, the lineup, and there's obviously there's different variants.
Anyone in there that we know?
I don't know.
Dave, your old sparring partner's in there apparently. But someone else.
Dave's going to be on the phone.
The person I'm really interested in seeing is Boy George. Because every time I see Boy George, he's always got a grey hat on.
Yeah.
Fella loves his makeup and all that. What's he going to look like, and how quick is he going to... Because he has been known to have a little bit of a sharp tongue, Boy George.
He'll look like he's in the perfect place for a hat, isn't he?
He'll have a hat. He'll style a hat, won't he?
Not one of his hats, though.
No.
Because, they're going to give him a hat. I mean, you can't imagine Boy George with a hat with corks on.
No, that's it, isn't it? Straight away. That, to me, that says a stylistic issue for the boy.
I think the £500,000 he's getting
maybe. Well, there's
whatever it is.
There's Babatunde Alicia, who's a comedian, so I don't know him, so I'm sure he'll be good. Olivia Atwood, never heard of her. Apparently, she was in Love Island and Towie, apparently.
Oh, I'm sure she'll be fine.
There you go. Sue Cleaver from Corrie.
Yeah.
Who's Eileen, I think she was in Corrie or Eileen Grimshaw. The one who,
Eileen Grimshaw wasn't it? Yeah.
She was like, she's thinking.
Todd's mum, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Todd?
Was it Todd Grimshaw?
Or was Todd the name of the actor that played
Maybe.
Grimshaw?
I know. Do you work in a taxi gaff with...
I don't watch it.
You do?
I don't.
Shut up.
This is like listening to my mum and dad.
I know.
All right. Scarlett Douglas, who is
no idea.
career in musical theatre, but she also presents
No
Place in the
idea
Sun.
any of these people are.
Chris
None of
Moyles,
them are really
we know.
famous.
Jill Scott, ex-Everton, England.
Oh, yeah, but she's won something.
So she's done something. So fair play, Man City, Everton, Sunderland midfield player.
Check.
Mike Tyndall, leaving
the rugby player,
leaving the royalty side to go and sit there. I wonder if he'll talk about Zara. Owen Warner, never heard of him. Romeo from
As in the
Hollyoaks.
wife or the shop?
Both. Why not? Talk to Boy George about that, and then talk to others. And Charlene White, from apparently she's been on Loose Women, and that takes it back to I don't know who she is.
I thought that was an
Matt
excellent,
Hancock's going in as well.
Who?
Matt Hancock.
I was just going to say, but the one who isn't.
I've got to go and get my train.
Oh, the bush
has got to go. We're finishing now anyway, but take it easy.
He's heading to Australia.
Yes, the bus is on the standby
Get
list.
corks on. Get turtling.
He's turtling, he's bush, get him out of here. Andy, see you next week. Take care, mate.
You don't want a turtle in the...
You don't want a turtle in the bush, sucker. But just Matt Hancock, it's a bit of a...
No, I mean, just... It's a disgrace. Fella's got a job to do.
It is
and he's
weird,
pissing
isn't it?
off to the jungle. That's a disgrace.
Is this, Dave, in your opinion, just because apparently he's got a book coming out, is this a good way for him to promote his book by going in there? Yeah. And should he be allowed, really?
I think that's entirely what it's to do with.
Yeah.
And I agree with Ped that it's an absolute disgrace.
Yeah.
If he has a governmental role, and he should be doing all that he can to fulfill that role. And try and,
we've seen this
make
before,
the country less of a shit show
than what it is.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah,
if we lived in like some kind of like utopian harmony, I could understand.
We've had this before.
The country is
Nadine Dorries, whatever.
The country is a tad in a mess, isn't it, at the moment?
But maybe he's thinking, I'll go there. Electricity, don't have to pay me electricity bill.
Warm, aren't you?
But you know what? Then the other side of it is looking at somebody like Matt Hancock and many of his colleagues who were ever present during the COVID crisis. Yeah. And you do wonder whether actually the sight of us all being able to vote for him to eat kangaroo anus could be one of the best turnarounds in British politics.
Yeah. There's a couple. I imagine there'll be a couple of people in there that people will be voting to see eat ass.
That's what it is.
Maybe. Well, of course, that's why they go in it, don't they? They go in to try, and I'm sure there'll be moments where he sat by the water, crying about how difficult it was. And I'm sure it was difficult at times, but there was also times that other things went on that he wasn't really thinking. Getting collared, doing things. So it's going to be interesting. I'm sure, like I said, there's a few characters in there who'll be getting voted for.
Will I be watching? Yeah. I watch every year.
Yeah, Dave, no. Me and Dave.
I don't think I'll be watching.
But that's what you.
I like the castle.
The jungle. To be fair, though, I did like where the castle. I've been there, seen it, where they do it. But I do the challenges. The trials are better in Australia.
When does it start?
Sunday.
Till when?
About 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
3 weeks it is.
Okay.
So it coincides with the World.
Oh, the World Cup.
No, because of the World Cup. It's 3 weeks earlier than what it would be because of the World Cup. Very briefly, Dave, I know you've got to go, but quickly. Everton have got Leicester City at home on Saturday. Bonfire night, 5:30 again. Worst kick-off time. This is a game. I don't want to say this is a game Everton should win because Leicester have got a lot of players who are match winners on the day. But you know, looking at where they are in the league, this is a great opportunity, isn't it, for Everton to make that Fulham point an even better point by following it up with a home win.
Yeah, I agree with you. And my opinion on this one is the same as it was ahead of the Fulham game. I think that it is, as we said before, there's no easy games, but I think it's definitely winnable. And I think that, you know, listen, we've got to start picking up some points.
Yeah.
We really do, because it's all well and good saying, oh, we're looking better and we're more solid here and we've got potential here and X, Y, and Z. But we've got to start putting some points on the board. And I think that, you know, Leicester is as good an opportunity as anybody at the moment to get some points. So I'm not fearful of it. I'm not taking it. I'm not complacent about it either. But I think we have every opportunity of getting 3 points against them. And that's what we need to be focused on. You know, we can't be playing for a draw against them. No,
I mean, we've got 2 games before the World Cup. Leicester home, Bournemouth. I know we've got the Carabao Cup game as well, but the 2 Premier League games. If we get, you know, I think for me, minimum of 4 points, I think then we go into that break on 18 points. I think we'd be halfway up. I think we'd be more than set up for a decent second half of the season. Would you agree with that, or are you thinking, really it should be 6 points?
It should be 6 points, but it won't be 6 points. is my take on that. I think I'll go with you. I think go for 4. I don't see us winning both of them.
Yeah, but if we did end up with that, I mean, me and Ped were talking the other week, and I think we said to you as well, if we took 8 out the next 4, that was following the Newcastle defeat, that'd be decent going into that break. And we took 4 out the first 6. So if we repeat that, then does that, you know, going into that break, and then obviously there'd be 2 games for the transfer window opened. So when the transfer window opens, we're still not at the halfway stage in the season. Then I think 18 points, I think, was set up then to have a good go at that second half of the season and be there or thereabouts for, you know, a mid-table-y finish, basically.
Yeah, we've got to, you know, and again, you know, we've got to win these home games.
Yeah.
Because you know we'll end up going on a run again of having some really, really difficult fixtures where we'll look at them and away games we'll kind of go, we're going to get nothing there.
Yeah.
You know, as much as we like to, we're not going to get anything there. And that's why we have to get them now. Otherwise, you know, we're going to find ourselves in the same situation again where we're going to be looking over our shoulder and people start panicking.
Yeah, that is true.
I think the league's a little bit, it just feels so close this season, doesn't it? That these kind of games are really important. And it'll be tough Saturday because these are the kind of team that can just score like goals out of nothing, like Worldies.
Well, he got battered at Wolves the other week, 1-4.
But I still think they're a little bit fragile at the back, and we'll have to just defend well and take our chances. And
the crowd will be big.
I do think this season the table's just going to be so much closer the way it's shaping up at the moment. It's going to be so interesting to see how it plays out. But yeah, if we can take 4 points from the next 2 games, that would be huge.
Yeah. Right, you know, we've got to go, Dave, so we're going to finish there. So thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. Big thanks to Dave. Big thanks to the Bushmaster General who has boarded a Qantas flight to Australia to be on the waiting list in the Versace Hotel.
It's a secret.
Oh, yeah, it's a secret. Him and Matt Hancock.
Hancock?
That's Hancock. That's how much I don't like it. Hancock having a groche, whatever it is. They'll be living it up.
Matt Hancock.
There you go.
It sounds almost oriental, doesn't it?
What a way to finish. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Honk.